there seems to be that point of apathy where you don't do anything. You feel like you're in bed all the time. You don't want to get up. You don't want to do anything. And then on the other side of that, there's a level of exertion to end things, right? Like not to get too dark, but if you look at Canada, right, you can legally end your life if you want to, but there's a period of rational thinking of getting to that end goal. Like, okay, I'm getting to this point. It's not just sitting down doing nothing.
Right. Right. Well, you have to, I think that assisted suicide thing is the understandable response because if you believe that there's no meaning, like we were talking about, that doesn't escape you from suffering. You can't turn off the fact that you naturally, habitually take the contents of your mind, the contents of your emotions as significant. You can't turn them off. You can't change the fact that you do wish there was meaning in life, whatever it is. Um, and so it seems like from that point of view, if you're not just like, well, you know, I guess there is meaning because I can't really escape meaning. You have the other side where people say, well, I'm just a broken being. I'm just here and I can tell that the world is meaningless, but I can't change the fact that I want meaning, at least. And so I'm just broken and the world's messed up. So the only solution to that would be to get rid of me. Now that actually entails a lot of hypothesis about what death is and that there's nothing on the other side of death and whatnot, which is not actually known or knowable from at least from the materialist point of view, but that's another uh, question. But you have to believe, like when you're in that place, the core belief is I am a broken being, and what I have called the nihilist mantra is the thing driving all that is this idea that you have in your head that's part of your conscious, but it's like a mantra that goes around. My own conscious is insignificant. Because if you accept my own conscious is insignificant, even though it's something in your conscious that you're treating as significant to change your outlook, but overlooking that, if you accept the idea my own consciousness is insignificant, then that essentially washes out any of those experiences of like, oh, I'm in a foxhole and I feel meaningful, but wait, I'm just a stupid, meaningless, broken being and none of my feelings or thoughts matter. So, that keeps you in and that's like a shield to everything else. So that's where I see all that coming from.
Right.
So that I do think the intellectual core of it, the argument that overturns it is that point of like, if you really believe that, why do you have the impulse to argue back? Why do you have to why do you have to prove that there is meaningless if I think there's meaning? Like, why is that a problem? Anything that bugs you as a problem, you're treating as significant. And actually the idea that
Hmm.
my own consciousness is significant is an aspect of your conscious that you're taking significant, as I was saying. So there is this just fundamental contradiction there. But I think it does come down to the fact of it's a metaphysical belief. Which we've talked about before, what that means. It's a basic orientation towards life, a faith, you might say. Um, it's either I believe the world is evil, broken, messed up, and I'm just a broken being in a broken world and I suffer because of that, or there's goodness in the world and maybe there's something wrong with me that could be fixed to be in line with that, right? I think those are your two options. If you're just like I'm a broken being, I know it. I know there's no good or meaning in the world. Then you sit in the fact of being a broken being that suffers. But if I would call it humility, if you can have some humility and say I don't, maybe there is meaning, but that would mean I'm missing something, right? Maybe there's goodness out there, and hey, maybe I could participate it or come into it more. But that would mean I've got some things wrong and need to sort some things out and change some things of how to get into that space because I'm not in that space right now.
Hmm.
So it's I think that's what it comes down to. And I don't mean to be too negative on the people who are stuck in that broken being space, but I do think that there's a fundamental contradiction there that's being ignored,
Mhm.
but intellectualism doesn't just solve everything. Uh, but I think there is a whatever value level, emotional level, I don't know what you would call that. There's a humility issue there as well of like I I see the world and I know what it is, and I've decided that it's just hopeless and worth despairing over. So
Yeah, and that idea of like I'm broken, even like if you take a look at that and just like, so you're saying that there is a hole, there's a
right,
hole,
yes,
Brenton,
yes,
and you are broken. So like, okay, well, if you believe broken exists, you also
yes,
believe repair, but like also must exist. If you say the negative exists, then there must be a positive.
yes,
And
exactly.
which is like, okay, well then there's a chance. You're saying
Yeah.
there's a chance. And and even like if you are you mentioned like you're either the broken person or the person that's like, oh, I gotta fix something within me or work on something within me to experience more of the goodness. And there's also like the goodness that you experience like along that path. Like there's also like, oh, wow, when I do this nice act of service or
hmm
when I do this or this thing, like I do feel a sense of like wholeness or just goodness in some way, and
hmm
that is also like a part of the path too. Um,